President Zelenskyy, thank you so much for joining us. You're here in London. You're here to meet European leaders, the E3, Prime Minister Keir Starmer, President Macron and Chancellor Merz. What is it that you want from this meeting here in London?
Thank you. First of all, thanks so much for having us and for the invitation. And so E3 meeting plus Ukraine is important. First of all, the most important thing, of course, is how to support Ukraine more. It's more about air defense because of such massive attacks on Ukraine, on our civilian infrastructure and on our people. So it's about air defense, the problems, because a big deficit with anti-ballistic missiles, yes, very slow transfer of missiles from the United States because of Iran and etc. So a lot of different questions. But I think that the most important, that we have to understand who will represent Europe during the negotiations with the Russians, if or when we will have these negotiations. I always tried to involve Europe as much as possible during our mediation with Americans, Russians, Americans and Ukrainians. I tried to involve Europe because Europe is very important for us. We are part of Europe, and I think that what is important, because Europe is very big, a lot of leaders, strong leaders, but we have to choose who will represent and what way it can be or it have been.
Are there positive signals coming from the Kremlin, from Russia, that perhaps they want the Europeans to start negotiating and talking with them?
You know, different signals, because mostly when it's about public signals, it's, by the way, it's a big difference between us and them, that for us, public and not public, we don't try to, you know, to play roles. It's very serious. It's about the war. It's about people. And that's why we are not trying to, to be very nice for somebody publicly and play another role when nobody hear us. So this is the problem with Russians, because it's sometimes you can't understand what they want, because a lot of signals that they want to stop, then really we see that Putin doesn't want to stop this war really. I think that he gives to his circle of people, business people, first of all, I think he gives signal that he is ready, and he gave signals to American president. He wants, but Ukrainians don't want. But really, we know he wants to win in this terrible war, and he wanted. Now, a little bit, you know, he's a little bit, how to say it, not so loud about it, because it's understandable. He doesn't have initiative on the battlefield. I think he understands it. But really, 100% depends on his decision in his country. And in this war, be honest, if he will want to stop this war, we will meet. I always say that I'm ready for any kind of format with mediation of Americans, better Americans and Europeans, or only Europeans, or just bilateral, doesn't matter. What matters, to stop it as quick as possible.
You sent him a letter asking to meet. It was quite a cheeky letter. He described it as rude. You referenced his age, for example, the number of years he's been in power. You said you've been in power for 26 years. And
you didn't read first version.
The first version was ruder? Do you want to share with us what your...
No.
but he rejected the letter almost immediately.
Now, it's, you know, I sent a letter, open letter, because I don't know if he will read, you know, or not. Open letter, it means that he has to answer to us and what is important to his society, because his society lives in some fantastic world that they didn't attack, that it's not the aggressive war, that they're defending some Russian-speaking people. So I mean, it's not serious. So and that's why for me it's very, very important to openly to share where we are. And it's important, they closed the internet and a lot of different things. We don't have too much possibilities to give signals to this country, the country of aggression, and they brought this big war to our country. They have to stop. And I sent him this letter openly. Nobody understands where we are with this war. And it was very important for me, for Americans, not to forget about us. I understand with all the challenges in the Middle East, but this is the biggest war during these 80 years, the biggest in Europe. And that's why this is so big, so many losses, human lives, we need to stop it. Don't make pauses because of Iran or something else. All the wars are bad, but we don't, we can't find priority. If we speak about the wars, we need to stop them as quick as possible. And it was important. So before my letter, he said several times publicly that he's ready to speak and he wants to stop this war. And he said about it publicly, but he doesn't feel that the readiness of Kiev. But he always said that Kiev regime, I think that he's speaking about me, such way. So, but for me, I mean, when I wanted very much to send him that to stop play these games and answer. If it's public letter, he has to answer. He has to answer. Better to meet, better to stop this war. His war, by the way.
You talked about the vulnerabilities you have with the air defenses and the support you need, and you've reached out to the Americans asking for more Patriots, and we can talk about that in a moment. But at present, 70% of Russia's population is in the sight of your missiles and your drones. We saw in the last week, St. Petersburg hit twice. What message are you sending the Russian people?
So, first of all, we are anti-ballistic attacks, cruise, missiles attacks. We are under massive attacks each day. Each day, if it's not massive attack, we have usually 300 drones. If it's massive attack, we have more than 600. It can be 800, 850 drones, plus 40 missiles sometimes. If it's massive, 60, 70 missiles. So we live in such circumstances. But it's not the way of life we chosen. Russia and Putin himself personally, chosen for us, for Ukrainians, this life. We did a lot of different things. From the beginning of the war, we tried to give all the signals to Europeans and Americans to stop Putin. We did a lot of hundreds of phone calls and signals, and we had to defend. Then Belarus joined it, from the territory of Belarus, they attacked us by missiles, killed children, people, just civilians. So, and we did what we could. But, of course, Putin counted that we will not survive during the winter, these awful winters, what we had, several already. The last one was so difficult for our people. And, of course, he wanted just to break our morality, break our people, especially he wanted to break, soldiers and civilians, to divide our society. I always tried to join, and we joined. And of course, then they began to divide civil society and the president. And of course, we worked on it. It's important to have United Nations, and we have it. Thanks to our people, we have this. But of course, during several years of the war and massive attacks, we learned, we studied, and we produced. We produced a lot of different drones and different missiles. We still don't have ballistic, but we are now on the way. We're very close. So it's our response. Our attacks to St. Petersburg on the military goals, by the way, or energy, after his attacks on our energy. So, and our response to the territory of Moscow region, it's our response and answer that we will not just silently die, and we will respond, and we will be stronger and stronger each day, day by day. It's true, by the way. It's true. Now we have more than 400 companies. Can you imagine? We didn't have them. More than 400 companies.
Before the war, even a few years ago, you didn't have them.
Yes, but now hundreds of companies, and dozens of them are strong, the strongest in the world, dozens of them already. So, of course, all these companies, we produced underground, we produce everywhere, even not only in our country. We began to do it to make exports. It's all about how to stop him, how to make pressure on him. Yes, support of allies is good. Sanctions is better. Sometimes sanctions on shadow fleet and their energy, gas, oil is very strong steps. But Putin understands only when there is a total pressure on him, when you're strong, when your answers are strong. That's why we show that our drones will come to the cities. I said to the city because we already did it during long period of time, villages and etc. We responded small cities, but they live in St. Petersburg and they live in Moscow and they don't think what's going on in other cities of Russia. So we tried it to show them that we will be closer and closer and will bring back their war on the territory from where this war came to us.
Donald Trump said you don't have cards. You now have cards because for the first time since 2023, you're regaining territory. You have the kind of drones that you're talking about are what NATO, the West wants. In fact, even the Gulf Arab states have reached out to you asking for your drones. What is it now that you, Ukraine, want in this moment? Because it is perhaps the first time that you can determine, without Russia, without the United States or whoever, what you want as a country.
First of all, as I said to President Trump, I didn't play really with Putin. So for us, it's very serious. That's what knows about cards. I didn't have cards, but I had people. And I think this is the most important, smart people, brave people. And this is our cards, the cards of Ukraine. And that's why they produced everything what we needed, not still enough because of fundings, about deficit with money and etc. And but we did a lot. Now we are very strong with drones, with these technologies. We can share with our partners. We can even help Middle East, and they got our expertise. So really, I mean, we have so many professional people which became warriors, but came from civilian sector, absolutely. And I think that's why they're so interesting, that they're soldiers with some another background. So it's interesting. Interesting people, by the way. They read books and they have internet. So even on the front line, we have it. They don't have Moscow. They don't use social media in the center of their capital. We can use it in the battlefield. Nobody stopped our soldiers. They can do it when they have pauses or when they want to speak with their children and etc. Now we want to share our security experience, expertise with all our allies who helped us from the very beginning, and be honest with everybody who want to get it, who really, because I think that it's important, not because of that tomorrow maybe the war can come to your... No, it's not about it. When you show such crazy people like Russians, when you show such people that you are strong, that you can defend in the case of any kind of attacks, they don't choose the war. So you have to show that you are very strong and you can respond in the case of attacks on your country, on your people.
If there were to be a ceasefire tomorrow and Russia were to agree with it, where would you want the lines to be frozen? Where they are at this moment, would you agree to that?
Yes, it's the quickest way. Of course, I want to freeze, not just freeze the conflict, because we want to live in Ukraine, not just stop the war. We want to stop, and I mean, stop the way when the war will not come back because of some crazy people and etc. if they want to come back with this war after some pauses. So it's not the idea just to freeze, but the quickest way to freeze. and to freeze and move it to diplomatic sector, to diplomacy, to negotiators.
So give Russia what they want in this moment, the land that they have gained.
No. It's not just to give. I mean, this to freeze, to stay where we stay. It meant to give people of Ukraine more possibilities to save their children, and soldiers come back. And I think this is important for us. I think it's so important that we defended independence, a sovereign country, our choice. This is big victory, if I can use such word, because I mean when you have so many losses, it's not about victory. So I mean that if we can freeze and say we can freeze, have ceasefire, but total ceasefire with any kind of games, without any kind of games from Russian side, with monitoring missions with our partners, Americans, Europeans, who will be ready. So we are open for everybody as much as possible. It's better. So, and then to sit and try in diplomatic way, find a way how to stop the war, not just ceasefire, to stop the war. And of course, we need money, we need accountability, we want it. I'm not sharing that everything will be immediately and etc. So, but I think this is the most important, just first step, ceasefire.
You have talked about the importance of your relationship with the European leaders and that they stand with you. What about President Trump today? Where does he stand in terms of where Ukraine is, the sort of support that you continue to ask, especially when it comes to the Patriots?
So we need more than we can get. And we need more even than we can buy. So it's a big problem that for today I can tell it that is such unique systems, like Patriot systems, anti-ballistic systems. And of course, Europe will have it. We will produce, or France, or UK, or some countries, unanimity of some Europeans will do it. We are on the way. We will do it for Europe. We will do for Europe anti-ballistic system. I know it. And we will join our partners, or we will lead this process. Doesn't matter. What can bring us quicker is better. So, but now we have big deficit gap with these systems and with missiles, and of course, where we are with President Trump, I think that we are at the same position what was during this last year, that when we can use our European partners' money and using Pearl program, we can buy some missiles. I said some because it's about some. It's a bit, we don't have too much. Yes, what we did, I think, professionally, and it's because of our personal relations with the leaders and with the countries, and because of societies, because, for example, society of UK, they just love Ukrainians, and Ukrainians love, it's about respect. When you respect each other, you will help, and you will find how to support, and in any way. So, and I think we build such relations with many nations, and they really help us and try to help, but it's not enough to defend, and Putin knows it. And
that puts you in a vulnerable position.
It's a weak position. It's weak position not only for Ukraine. We're just in the how to say, we are in the war, but it's a bad position for Europe. It's a weak position of Europe. It's a weak defending system of whole European continent. We produced a lot of different things. We can destroy any kind of, for today, any kind of drones, Iranians, Russians, North Koreans, Chinese, doesn't matter, with different engines, slow speed, doesn't matter. We can do everything, and we can work against different kind of missiles and different weapons, but ballistic, we didn't find.
You haven't cracked the code yet.
Yeah.
It's just come up to 100 days since the war in Iran began, and you wrote in your letter to Vladimir Putin that Donald Trump is distracted. The West is distracted by this, well, Donald Trump rather, the Americans are distracted by that war. What would you like to see happen in terms of the support that should continue for Ukraine?
So it's understandable for me if United States will, with partners, will stabilize the situation in the Middle East, if it will be a really strong, lasting decisions between sides. And I think that we will have more possibilities to get from other countries, United States and Middle East. We help them, and they can help us with anti-ballistic missiles. They have huge number, of course, not comparable with Ukraine. Between us, what we've got from the United States and Europeans during all the years, more than 4 years of this war, we've got less number than Middle East used first day of the war. Less number, totally. Yeah, but we learned how to live without it and how to survive without it. So, I mean, I think that ceasefire is good for everybody, for societies, for Middle East, for just civilians in different countries, including civilians in Iran. I mean, it's about the war, so many losses. Of course, ceasefire, it's about it. First of all, it's about it. And of course, then that partners can help us more in such circumstances.
And in the meantime, you'll reach out to the likes of Roman Abramovich and others to try and help you in that path?
Abramovich, he came to Kiev. He said that I think that, he said, I have a message direct to you, and I want to get message and take message from you and to give it to Putin. But he said that it has to be silently, without any kind of public messages. I said, look, it's your choice. Okay, for us, it doesn't matter, public or unpublic, but it's always with Russians such way. If they say something has to be between us, it means that tomorrow, not only we will know about it, but it's not the secret. He came and he wanted to give him the message that they are ready that they want to understand what we are ready to do. I said, the question is not about us. You are fighting against us on our territory. And I said to him about Donbas, it was the key message. And I said, no, we will not live and we will not go out from our territory. No, we will not give you a victory such way. And you will not get it. And we spoke about any kind of compromises. I said that all the compromises after ceasefire. Ceasefire is the biggest compromise from our side to your side.
So is he a go-between now?
I don't know. When he got message from me, he said he will go directly to Putin. I said, okay, I'm ready to meet, not in Moscow, not in Belarus, and not in Minsk, and it's understandable why. And I said, you can choose any time from tomorrow. You can choose any day, any format. We can choose with President Trump. I'm sure that he will be ready to come. And we can do it with Europeans. I'm sure that everybody wants to help. Or we can choose the way just bilateral meeting. And we spoke about outcomes, what can be, and etc. I said, look, the best way, I think it's a big signal if we will meet and make ceasefire. And I don't wait from your side, we don't wait for many, changes. No, I don't believe in any kind of changes. If we can meet and bring peace to people, I think this is the best way what we can do. And so after that, we've got messages that they are ready for meeting only if Ukraine will do what they decided in Anchorage. But it's terrible what they speak about. And I said it when we had meeting. Look, you can't, with all respect, even with all respect to President of the United States, but you can't cut our country, or you can't decide, our people decide. You can't make decisions without us, about us. It's unacceptable, and it will not bring peace. This is the first, and will not bring success to your countries and to your leaders. So that's why I said that the best way if you want to stop the war against Ukraine, use, in a very polite way, use opportunity to speak with us.
President Zelenskyy, really good to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.